Kakadosh, Boker Or, Bekiim Bahalacha, 2, day 2. This is the second part we're talking about now in the preface, in the second part, in the second half, in Siman 1. Okay? We're going to start. Rav Chida, page 12. Okay, Rav Chida stated that since the very first halakha in the Shulchan Aruch is to rise up from one's sleep early in the morning, anyone who fails in the primary test is certain to have difficulty with coming to Yitzhak in all his affairs. The truth is, this is already like a chazara, what we learned yesterday. Because basically, we learned yesterday, everything goes after the beginning. So if the beginning already went on the left foot, usually that's the saying that it's going to continue. So therefore, it's imperative to place great effort to succeed in the first battle. One must internalize the lesson of the Ramah in the first gloss of the Shulchan Aruch. One must be conscious of the concept of the Hashem, right? That He's present everywhere in the entire world. If someone is lazy to get up early in the morning for his prayers, Hashem is fully aware of it. And therefore, one must leap like a gazelle and run to serve Hashem. I don't know why he's speaking now about a gazelle and running and not about the Ari, right? Like the Shulchan Aruch said. It is recommended that one refrain from speaking any mundane conversation in the morning until one has prayed and blessed his Creator. One must certainly avoid any lengthy conversations until then. You heard? No askanut, no business. Yeah, before the tefillah. Okay? The Sefer Pele Yuetz. He comes and he says the sage is teaching in Hashkama. She's talking about waking up early. If someone wishes to murder you, beat him to kill him, right? And kill him first. Right? Hashkama. Since the Yitzhak fully intends to kill people with its wiles, we must stand fast in self-defense. If we fight this battle first thing in the morning, Hashem will give us assistance all day long. Therefore, one must make sure to rise before dawn. Okay? The Chesed Alafim states, one must display the strength of a lion to rise up early in the morning to serve one's Creator. One's entire connection to Judaism depends on rising early in the beginning of the day by performing good deeds and avoiding evil. So again, even though this is obviously the Shulchan Aruch, remember, the Chesed Alafim, you know who is? The Chesed Alafim is Rabbi Eliezer Papo, the Pele Yuetz. Pele Yuetz is a Sefer of Musar. Chesed Alafim is his Shulchan Aruch. Rabbi Eliezer Papo. Yeah? So Rabbi Eliezer Papo, he wrote the Pele Yuetz, which is the famous Musar Sefer, but he wrote the Chesed Alafim on Orechaim and Yeridea, which is basically like Shulchan Aruch. It's based upon the same simanim in Shulchan Aruch, but basically it's like a Musar Sefer of Shulchan Aruch, basically. So there he basically says the same thing. He brings the Shulchan Aruch, obviously, you have to wake up early in the morning, right? But he says that all the connection to Judaism depends upon that. Again, they're all saying it in different ways, right? Again, about about how we're supposed to fight the Yetzirah, the first battle. But he's just adding in that the entire connection that we have to do Yadut has to do with this. It takes great effort to break one's desires, to overcome Yetzirah and fight the fights to drag one down. One must fight this battle during all hours of the day. But the struggle is the fiercest when one wakes up and one's mind is still foggy with sleep. You see it. Some people, they come here, they're half So what? That's where the fight is. Run. They have to come. Yeah? At that time, the Yetzirah pounces upon the person, persuading him to go back to sleep in the winter because it's cold, and in summer because the night is short. Its goal is to make sure that the person at least misses the opportunity to play with a tzibur, or at least make him sleep through the entire morning. If it succeeds, it will continue to hound the person throughout the day, as each sin precipitates another. Avera, avera. Therefore, anyone who wishes true life should employ strategies to win this battle. He must make sure to rise early in the morning to serve God at all costs. I think the chidush of the Pele Yuetz was to do it before dawn, even. Which that's even the chidush. Meaning not even nets. You have to come up. You have to wake up before Alot Shachar. If he slips one day, he should impose a monetary or physical fine on himself. This is what our sages referred to when they taught, act against the evil one before he acts against you. Right? Again, the same concept. Yeah? This is the formula for anyone who wishes to conquer the Yitzhak and serve his Creator. So here, another chidush, monetary cost. So every time a person comes late, boom, money. Yeah? It's going to cost them. So all of a sudden, what happens? It's going to come on time. Yeah? He says, commented, that people should imagine how quickly they would react and jump out of bed if a fire broke out near one's home in the middle of the night. They should likewise realize that if they do not care to wake up to the Torah study, they are likely to cast into a fire, the fire of Gehinnom. Meaning a person has to realize that there's a fire of Gehinnom under him, and therefore he has to jump out of bed and start running. Likewise, if someone heard burglars breaking into his house during the night, certainly would not turn over and back to sleep. He would rush to save his life and property from danger. On the positive side, if someone was notified that if he would interrupt his sleep and get up before dawn, he would get in fire and find a treasure of gold and silver, he would surely jump out of bed no matter how tired he is. The Torah is more precious than gold and treasures. It is important that people avoid staying up too late at night, even if someone is involved in Torah study. It might be that the Yetzer Hara is encouraging him to continue studying to make sure that he will miss the mitzvah of reciting the Shema and praying on time the following morning. According to eyewitness accounts, Rabbi Yisrael Kagan, which is basically the Chavetz Chaim, would personally shut the lights off in the yeshiva so that the students would go to sleep and get up in time for the morning. In fact, the response of the Piazza Decha suggested that this is the intention. Shulchan Aruch must be like a lion whose nature is to sleep at night and wake up early in the morning. Meaning, don't have a Yetzer Hara that, you know what, I'm going to stay up all night, but then I'm going to get up at 10 o'clock and I'll pray at 10. Yeah, but I'm a tzaddik. Why? Because I went to sleep at 3 o'clock in the morning. No. What you're supposed to do is go to sleep early, right? Sleep during the night, but you wake up early and you learn Torah. Okay? Siman Aleph. Yitgaber Ka'ari. Siman Aleph. Tina Shkamat Boker. We're on page 15. Cans. Yeah? Yeah, so he says like this. Aleph, halakha number 1. One must gird one's strength. So again, that's words of the Shulchan Aruch. A person has to come and gird one's strength, right? In the manner of a lion to rise up in the morning in order to serve one's creator. One should rise before dawn's light, right? So this was that shehu meoreret hashachar. Okay, we're going to see that in the footnote now. As the king David HaMelech comes and he says, "My soul, wake up to the lyre in the harp as I wake in the dawn." Our sages interpret this as saying, I awaken the dawn rather than the dawn's light wake me up. Meaning, by the way, there's a segula. I don't remember if it's Rabbi Shalom Sharabi or I remember the Chai Sharabi that he says that if you say that, I think it's 7 times, forwards and backwards. So I think it's a segula to fall asleep and to wake up early. So ani meiret hashachar. I'm waking up in the morning, and not that the shachar is meiroti. Okay, look in the Yerushalmi. So let's see the footnote. Footnote number 1 and 2. Number 1, the Sefer Tur Orachaim begins. Right, so basically, there's going to be this concept of Yudam and Tema. There are 4 important aspects of serving Hashem parallel to the 4 parts of human being. You have to be brave as a lion, right? That's what it says, right? You have to be brave like a lion. Verse one's heart. One must gird one's strength in the manner of a lion to rise up early in the morning to the Creator. Even if it's midwinter and the Yetzer Hara argues, no, it's too cold, or if it's in the summer, how can you wake up too early? You must still ignore him, and you should do it. In fact, one must awaken the dawn rather than the dawn wakes you up, as the Elmaleh says. The Sefer Shulchan Melachim noted the Maran cited only one of the 4 aspects in the Shulchan Aruch. The Hebrew words Yitgaber Kari, to be brave as lion, has a numerical value of 846, which is equal to the numerical value of Maran's name, Yosef ben Ephraim Karo. You understood? Meaning Maran wanted to, why did Maran only bring down one of the 4 of the Yudam and Temalmet? Because obviously if he came and he brought down about all the animals, we are supposed to learn from every single animal. So for every single animal has something that we have to take and we have to learn in order to serve HaKadosh Baruch Hu. So why did he only bring down the Yitgaber Kari? It says Yitgaber Kari because the same gematria have his name. Okay, and you always have to remember, hint out your name. Exactly. The signature on the Sefer, exactly. That it's it. The Sefer Chayei Moshe also noted that the Ramah inserted 2 glosses in the first Halakha Shulchan Aruch. The Hebrew words for gloss, which is Haggah, has a numerical value of 13. 2 times Haggah is 26, which is Hashem's name as well. So you purposely put 2 Haggaot in the first Seif in order to have the name of Hashem there. Like a lion. He says that Turei Zav, the Taz, stated that a lion fears no other creature. Right? That means basically a lion is not afraid of anybody. Right? Likewise, a person is supposed to stand up fearlessly to Yetzer Hara, although it might warn him of negative consequences for performing mitzvot. Harav Chaim Modae in the Petach David pointed out that according to the Midrash Al Piyot, a lion sleeps with its eyes open. If it notices a hunter in the vicinity, it immediately blends into its surroundings so that it will almost be invisible. If it is discovered, nevertheless, it will attack the stalker fearlessly. In the same way, a person must be constantly on the lookout for Yetzer Hara's wiles, even when going to sleep. Right? So the next time if you want to go to sleep, make sure you have your eyes open. Yeah? The responsa. Halacha Ketanot explain that the four creatures featured in Rebidam and Tema represent the four basic elements of the universe. The lion represents the element of fire, the Yetzer Hara, which is itself a fire, as we see in Kiddushin 81a. Okay, the Petach David explained that according to this, that in order to combat the Yetzer Hara, one must fight fire with fire. See the lengthy discussion in Lefel Lev on the subject, which obviously there it's actually chaval because he's only bringing the lion part. What about all the rest? I don't know. It's he brings down. He doesn't actually bring down the other three elements. Obviously, it can be water, right? The earth, the wind, and then also the other. The as courage. The courage has to come from the namer. Like each one basically coming, right? And it's explaining it to us. So obviously, but it doesn't explain. Oh, until now it doesn't explain. Let's see if it does. Next, number 2, heavenly assistance. The Taz pointed out that Maran omitted the final phrase of the Midrash rather than have the dawn's light wake us up. Why? Meaning, this was actually a Midrash. So if it was a Midrash, right, that basically, rather than have the dawn's light wake me up, that sheyehu me'orer et hashachar, velo hashachar me'orer oto. Why doesn't it say those words? Why did he skip it out? So he explained it. He said that our sages teach that if a person does what he can to sanctify himself, Hashem will help him achieve much more sanctity than the human nature can. Meaning, right, abali taher, sainoto, right, it comes to help you. Likewise, when someone does his utmost to inspire himself to serve Hashem, his efforts will be rewarded, and he's going to receive an abundant inspiration from Hakadosh Baruch Hu. David HaMelech said, "I will awaken the dawn rather than have the dawn's light wake me up." His power of serving Hashem was so great that he did not even need, right, the assistance of Hashem. He did not need the dawn's light. We cannot pretend to be on his level, obviously. However, though, we could only say that I awaken the dawn and I do the best to serve Hashem, however limited I am. I know that I still need the heaven's assistance, and therefore only David HaMelech could truthfully declare rather than have the dawn's light wake me up. Therefore, Maran did not quote this in the Shulchan Aruch because Keilu, we need Hashem's help. Meaning since we need Hashem's help, I'm not going to quote exactly David HaMelech. No. We still need that HaKadosh Baruch Hu will come and he's going to help us out. Number 3. Let's continue on the top. Even if it is midwinter, the Yetzer Hara still argues. How can you get up? It's so cold. Or if it's summer, how can you get up in the morning? You didn't sleep enough. You have to replenish. You have to energize your batteries. One must nevertheless ignore these arguments and rise up early in the morning. Immediately upon awaking, person should think, if I had the privilege to serve a mortal king, I would jump out of bed and make sure that I'm ready on time. Imagine how important it is when I'm going to be summoned before Melech Malchei Malachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Says number 3. Yeah? So he says, imagine Melech Malchei HaKadosh Baruch Hu. The Bayit Chadash, number 3 in the bottom, the footnote. The Bach presented for us some of the wily tactics of the Yetzer Hara. In the winter, it argues that the coldest hour of the day is just before the sun rises. Right? Remember that whenever it's going to the extreme, when something is going out, that's when it becomes the strongest. That's why when a person is going to pass away, usually they fight the strongest to stay alive. Right? And the same is with everything. The darkest hour of the day is right before it becomes light. The lightest is right before it becomes dark. You know something like there's the concept. So he says here, when is the coldest hour of the day? Just before the sun rises. Wouldn't it be more comfortable? It suggests to wait until the sun rises and then the temperatures become better. How can you concentrate on the tefillah if you're shivering with cold? In the summer, it's the most comfortable during the earliest hours before it gets too hot. Therefore, the Yetzer Hara changes his tactics. And he says, the night is too short. So continue sleeping for another hour or two. That way you'll be able to concentrate on your tefillot and you won't fall asleep in your books. The Yetzer Hara's favorite strategy is always to disguise his arguments as being the right thing to do, as if he wishes us to assist to serve Hashem better. Those people repeat his arguments, claiming that they purposely sleep instead of falling asleep over the prayer book. That's what they're doing, basically. You understand? So they come and they start repeating it, and they don't even realize, but that's the Yetzer Hara. Okay? They purposely sleep late in the morning to pray with better concentration, must realize that they have actually fallen prey to his trap. After 2 or 3 hours of sleep, a healthy person should be able to remain alert throughout his prayers. He can make up the sleep he needs afterwards instead of postponing his prayers. One cannot overestimate the value of praying with a minyan in the synagogue at the proper time, meaning it's such a powerful time there's nothing that you can compare. But that's the Yitzhak. The Yitzhak will come and say, okay, but at least he did something. At least he did that. Number 4. Yeah, this comes from the Rambam in Moreh Nevuchim. The Rambam in Moreh Nevuchim says this, that immediately once a person gets up, right, he says, imagine, if he's going to serve a regular king, what he would do, imagine in front of the Melech, so he says, it's cited by the Mishnah Berurah, the Rambam's words are, one must realize in whose presence one is sleeping, this Melech right, that he hovers overhead, as the Pasuk says in Yeshaya, the entire world is filled with his glory. If someone would lie down in the presence of a mortal king, he would surely be executed for his insolence. How much more so is it sinful to remain sleeping when one is expected to rise before HaKadosh Baruch Hu? The Mishnah Berurah did not bother copying the Rambam's words, in whose presence one is sleeping, that the Supreme King of Kings, blessed one, hovers overhead, since this concept is already expressed in the Ramah's gloss. Meaning, since the Ramah already brought down that Shiviti Hashem Tamid, whenever you're talking in front of Hashem, whenever you're sleeping, meaning it was already brought down. So Mishnah Berurah is not going to copy the words of the Rambam, which is going to, be the word for word the Ramah. So since the Ramah already brought down that whenever we're acting in front of Hashem, so the Mishnah Berurah did not quote the words of the Rambam, that even when we're sleeping, Hashem is hovering above, and therefore we have to jump out of bed in order to serve HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Strategy for rising with inspiration. The Ramah says, when you lie down to sleep, realize in whose presence you're lying down. So that's what I just said now. As soon as you awaken, jump up and begin serving Hashem actively. The response of Siach Yitzchak explained that there are not merely two separate instructions, but one leads to another. Meaning he's not telling you two things. First of all, as if to say, you wake up, you jump up, you begin serving, and also when you lie down, realize, no, it's one leads to another. If someone is filled with the fear of Hashem's presence, when he lies down, so he goes to sleep specifically in order to replenish his strength to serve Hashem, so therefore he has no problem rising in the morning, because that means he's going to awaken himself and do quickly in order to serve Hashem. The Yetzer Hara will have no control over him. And this is a little bit of the pasuk, in Zecharticha Yutzi B'Shmurot Egeh Bach. If I remember you on my bed, I will contemplate you during the night watches. So basically, this is a very big chidush that I'll say it in other words that people should just understand. If you want to wake up early in the morning, it starts the night before. Meaning, depends what you do the night before, how are you going to wake up the next morning? So some people, they don't think with their heads, right? They'll go to a wedding, and there's one mitzvah of being mesameach hatam v'kala. So the entire night, they went, and they did a mitzvah, but only one mitzvah. So they were there dancing away, and they were there for 6 hours and 7 hours, and they only left the wedding at 3 o'clock in the morning, right? And they feel so good about themselves. I did a mitzvah. What was a mitzvah? If they would have gone even for 2-3 hours, and then they would have learned for another hour, they would have had hundreds of mitzvot because they were learning Torah for an hour. But they didn't pay attention to that. So what did they do? They went to the wedding. They go to sleep at 3 o'clock in the morning. Obviously, forget nets. Forget even the 8 o'clock, and not even the 9 o'clock, right? Maybe the 10:30. Right, maybe 10:30, maybe 11, and even that, do they even have a minyan? Not a minyan. They go, but he feels good about himself. Why? Last night they did a big mitzvah. It says that's exactly the Yetzer Hara. Because the Yetzer Hara is that if you want to wake up early, good, have chacham enough birosho, pay attention, the Rosh HaShmunot, pay attention also the night before. Meaning, not only Rosh means the beginning, Rosh means the beginning of the night. Meaning already the beginning of the night, pay attention. If you want to wake up early in the morning, somebody comes and tells them, oh, why did you wake up late? No, etmol balayla yashanti 20 dakot. Yeah, or I don't know what. You understand? No. Pay attention to the night before. And if you're going to pay attention the night before and you go to sleep, you're going to come and you're going to wake up early in order also to serve Haborei Barach. Have a wonderful day.